Hey guys. Always going live, mate. Always going live, unfortunately. Yep. Appreciate all you guys waiting up and I suppose it's almost like they make you feel stupid because they get you so excited and pumped up and build hope and expectation is good, and it's like I'm actually not even sure, like, am I creating that hope for myself and I'm just in denial that we're not a good team, or are they so good at making you believe and then also at the same time equally as good, if not better, at helping it crash and burn? And tonight they gave you all of that. There's a lot of crash and burn, and then they came back, and then a lot of crash and burn in the fourth, and then they came back, and then obviously Collingwood finished the better and wanted it more. So first game in a while, I've been with my mum, my dad and my sister, all under the same roof at Marvel. It's been about 10 years, and terrible performance to put up. It was really the one game where, like, in the first 10 weeks, you're like, yep, we'll win that. No, not even questioning it. Not even thinking about it. You know, it's kind of like, yep, we'll beat Collingwood. They'll try hard. Collingwood are tipped to be a bottom 4 team by a lot of experts. We're not tipped to be. We're tipped to be the top part of the bottom 8, but better than Collingwood. And, you know, that didn't really happen. It was just heartbreaking in a way to have them chant Collingwood and sing outside, and yeah, that's me kind of just talking about the whole situation. But I guess overall, the game itself, dog shit. Game plan, whether it's round 1 or round 20, I'm not going to go easy on Rats. That's the same shit that we served up last year, mate. Exactly the same game plan. I saw no different. I saw an over-reliance on tools, and if tools don't mark it and bring it to ground, we're fucked. And I saw a ridiculous pattern of going to wings. When we scored, we went through the middle, Rats. Maybe fucking play fast at some point before we're 5 goals down. We play our best footy chasing the game. We don't like taking the game and running with it. We like chasing it. We like having something to come back from, as if, you know, we don't make it and we don't win it, but we tried, then we get off scot-free. That reliance to go to the wings and go to tools is the most boring thing I've ever seen. I hate that. I hate that style of football. We are not going to be a top 8 team if we play like that. And there were passages where, you know, no offense to the boys, but we had Owens in the middle with Steele and Hayes, and we got killed at that point. We didn't play our best players in their best positions. Suddenly we put Hayes forward and he kicked 3 goals and he looked like $1 million. So, you know, that's a positive. That Jack Hayes was enormous in that third quarter and was a big part as to why we got back into the game. A first gamer from the Sandful was one of our best players, if not the most influential player on the ground for the first 3 quarters. What does that say about the rest? Jack Higgins, selfish at times. Dan Butler laid a lot of tackles, but again, no scoreboard pressure. Max King tried really hard. Can't really fault his game apart from a few early misses, but other than that, he tried his ass off. Jack Steele tried his ass off. Rowan Marshall was enormous. Sinclair went missing, but we put him in the middle, and it suddenly started to work. We tried things. We put our best players in some of the better positions. The game changed when we put Sinclair in the middle with Steele and Crouch. But if ever there was a time that it kind of showed when we missed someone like a Zach Jones, it's like tonight. We had no X factor in the middle. Jack Steele is a great player. He's a superstar of the comp. But he just doesn't have that wow factor that Collingwood had in the middle when they could put Degoe there, and even some of their young kids were showing. Lipinski, Dacos made our 100 gamers look ridiculous. He shit on them, to be honest. He had nearly, 100 Supercoach points. Our forward structure is still such a worry. I think our forwards are capable, but our structure is so bad that it's so easy to defend. It's so easy to defend. And the way we kicked out of the back 50 on turnover was shocking. Our ball skills at times were shocking. Burnsy in the last quarter, critical passage of the game. He just didn't know where to go. There were two good options, and he went in the middle and he fluffed it. That's kind of how we were a lot of the time tonight. I know a lot of Saners want me to talk about the umpiring, and I don't want to get too stuck into them because obviously that's not the reason why we lost tonight. So straight off the bat, we didn't lose because of the umpires. We lost because we were just shit. But there were a lot of calls holding the ball. They were all over the fucking place. Like umpires, mate. If you pin one, you pin the other. You don't pick and choose. That call at the end with Mason Wood, I thought it was his free kick. It looked like he got his head taken off. And it was a Collingwood free kick. I don't even know why. The deliberate from Jack Steele, he's kicked it off the deck being pushed. It's going inboard, then dribbles out. That's a throw-in. It's not deliberate. Most of those were critical points in the last quarter that set us back. But that's our own fault. We shouldn't be relying on having a run in the umpiring department to get back into a game. We should have been 5 goals clear and cruising in that last quarter if we were a genuinely good team. And we can say injuries, but it wasn't like last year. We had Rowan Marshall out there. We had Gresh back. There was a lot that we had enough on the park tonight to win the game, and we still didn't. Collingwood had the desire. They spread incredibly well. You could tell in the first 5 minutes that when we got the ball, I don't even know how to describe it, but we'd get the ball and everyone would be on one side and move to one wing and clump the wing, and it was crowded. Collingwood spread. Our players ran towards each other. Collingwood recognised that that's going to create crowded areas where there's no space to run and spread and beat St Kilda. And they all said, okay, I'm going to run as far away from my teammate as possible. And that meant that there was so much time and space for them when they got the ball. And what does that do in turn to us? It means that when we defend, it's all one-on-one. There's no packs. There's no support. It's one-on-one. And they won all of the one-on-ones in the first half. All of them. You know, there were so many times where you'd think that even with 3-on-1, there were times with 3-on-1 Saners. We'd have 3 Saners to 1 pie, and they broke even or won the contest. And that's when I knew, fuck, here we go. We can't even we outnumber them, rarely, and when we do, we don't win the contest. And that blows my mind. Dukes, some silly kicks out of the back 50, just hacking it. Tonight, you can't pin it on one player tonight. You know, Dean Kent, I didn't think he should have played, but he was actually not our worst player. Kicked a goal, tried his best. That's what you get from Dean Kent. It's just the overall structure. To me, this is beyond the players. It's beyond what they did on the field. It's what goes on off the field in the coach's box that I'm starting to... I don't want to jump to conclusions and think it's all in the coach's box and Rats is the only problem here. He's not. But I think he needs to... I don't want him to be stubborn and stick with this same game plan. Everyone knows that this game plan doesn't work anymore. This is Richmond from 2017. Kicking it long, running in waves. That's not how... Even Richmond don't play that way anymore. We need to adapt. We need to get better at spreading and running. That's when we win. How is it so difficult for the club to identify that when we run and spread, that's when we play our best football? Not when we bomb it to Max King on his head every fucking 5 minutes. And when we do, he's at half back when we're exiting the 50, and when he gets it, we've got Membry down there, and he's double teamed anyway. And then who's the next tall? Jack Hayes. You're not going to rely on him every week like you did in the third quarter to win your games. I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen. And if we're relying on him to do that, then we've got bigger problems to worry about. Collingwood had more desire, more pace. Their execution was so much better. We made Mason Wood look like $1 million. It's just... So incredibly frustrating. So incredibly frustrating. I came here tonight fully expecting to win. There's not many weeks where I actually can say that, because as a Saints fan, obviously you're always naturally born as a pessimist. But tonight I really thought that with the build-up, Shane Warne stuff, again, we don't live up to that sort of stuff. When we're playing for someone, we lose. Spud's game, we're just not very good at these sort of special games. Thomas has said, Jake, my dude, chill. We did get beaten, but not because we are crap, because the things we need to learn are being taught. Pain is a part of that. I'm sorry. I disagree with that, mate. If we're learning, things should look different. Do you know what I mean? Like, we should be able to see differences and be like, okay, well, we tried that and it didn't work. If we had a loss tonight, saying as going down the middle and playing aggressive and trying to do something different and not going to the wings and bombing it all the time, I would fully say, look, we're trying something. Clearly, that's the new game plan. It worked at times and it didn't work at times, and that's footy and we'll get better. But tonight we played the same way we did last year, and that got us nowhere. And clearly the game plan hasn't changed. If it has, someone please tell me what looked different tonight to some of the losses we played last year, where we bombed it and we're relying on our tools, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work out. Our smalls had no impact. Was that any different to last year? I'm sorry, I just didn't see it. So that's kind of my feel on it. Not really a review. It's kind of more just a diary entry. But after these type of losses, that's what you can expect. It's not going to be fully tactical. Although, I thought, like I said, they spread, they ran harder, and that made it very difficult for us to defend. And when we did it, we crammed the wings and flooded those areas of the field and bombed it to those areas, and either the ball went out of bounds or it was a turnover and Collingwood could repel pretty easily. I'm going to scroll to I might even just go through the comments now. If you want to ask me a question, go for it, and I'll try and respond as I can. Is Alan Richardson still coaching us? Mate, the way we played tonight, it actually felt like it. That's exactly the style. It's got no skill to it. It's just relying on pure effort. And if our effort's not there, which it wasn't because we weren't spreading, then we don't win the game. This one's from Kenny. Pathetic, couldn't do it for Warnie. The most important round one game in years. And yet all we heard this week was off-field news about 4 million left lane getting a promotion. At least he won't be head of football anymore. Xavier says, feels like we haven't had an off-season. Same crap again. Samuel says, we have too many bang average players in the team. They fumble, wreck momentum and struggle with decision making. At least 8 to 10 players in our team who wouldn't get a game at other good clubs. You're always going to have average to bad players at the bottom of your list, but you can't have as many as we do. But I really didn't think our 22 today looked bang average. Dean Kent and then a couple of inexperienced boys who look good, like Owens, were probably at the bottom of the list, but the rest were best 22, weren't they? I mean, we weren't missing that many. Although, Crouch was a big disappointment tonight. Mason Wood, best 22. You know what? Again, I didn't think he was our worst player tonight. I actually thought he took some good marks, kicked a goal. His kicking inside 50 wasn't bad. He put it to dangerous spots. But again, he's probably not best 22 if everyone's fully fit, but he wasn't the worst tonight. Max says, so many good players in our team, yet there was no continuity within the boys. Tom's asking, how did I think Jack Higgins played? Not great. I thought he was selfish. There was that passage, I think it was in the third term, where he got the ball and Gresh was running past, and it was basically them two running into an open goal. And he immediately, without thinking twice, took a shot and kicked it behind. Gresh was fuming after that. And rightly so. He should have given the hands, or they should have just worked it out together running into an open goal. But that was how we were tonight. The second the ball landed in a player's lap, it was like it was a hot potato, like 4,000 degrees, and we couldn't hold it. Get it, get rid of it, get it, bomb it. Just panicked. We're playing Collingwood. Like, take it easy, take a deep breath. There was no composure about our game tonight. Even from our better players, they were hacking it. It was just contagious across the board. 2 goals out of Gresh, Butler and Higgins, not good enough. No, that is not even close to my prediction of getting 100 goals out of them and Billings. Brandon's asking, filthy Jakey, such a disappointing way to start off the season. Hayes, Steele, Sinclair, Marshall, Gresham and Patton were great. Sharman would have been handy for us tonight. From what you see, how many more chances we're going to give Ross before he's done? 1 more week. That's what I go with. Michael says, stay strong, Jakey boy. Mate, I'm very strong. I'm still doing this, aren't I? That takes strength, mate. Not many people would be doing this as many times as I have with the performances that team dishes up, trust me. Marcus says, Jake, how did a first gamer in Hayes beat Brodie Grundy, who earns $950k a year? What does that say about Grundy? Not much, but I think we better talk about Hayes more, mate. He's got a fucking big heart, and he's playing his ass off to get us back into the game. He was leading. He was willing himself. And it's fitting that his last name's Hayes, because that's reminiscent of what Lenny did so often. He willed himself to play better, and it lifted the blokes around him. And Jack Hayes did that in the third quarter. He lifted the team. You know, for a guy to walk into a club and do that straight off the bat in his first AFL game, that's incredible. Thoughts on Hill tonight? That's from Dustin. Not bad. Ball use was okay. But he didn't get the ball in dangerous enough areas. And when he did, he got like 1 ball in the centre ground. And that's when he hit Jack Higgins on the chest and got a shot on goal. But most of the time was under pressure, or it was a shitty handball to him, set him up, and he got pinned a few times because the second he got the ball, he got tackled. Pie supporter there, thanks mate. Bevan King, a few easy misses. People need to lay off Hill, agreed. Crystal says, what happened to King Max? Scared of the ball again? I don't think so. I don't know if you were at the game, Crystal, you even watched the game based on that ridiculous comment, but he threw himself at the footy a number of times. So for me, it didn't look like Maxie was afraid of the ball at all. If anything, there were so many times he went for a run and jump, and the Collingwood defenders would pull him, push him off the ball, pull his arm, do anything to derail his run at the ball, and the umpires just didn't pay it. And that's the sort of stuff that us fans get fed up with, because he's making a contest and they're working on him so much off the ball. There's no reward there, and you just see it happen to so many forwards that get rewards. Kingy's not getting it at the moment, but he's not afraid of the ball. That's a silly comment. Charlie says, we were too slow on the rebound. Brad Hill needs to stop trying to do so much. We were slow on the rebound, but the rebound, it starts there, but then it's about what happens up the field, right? There's no rebound if players aren't spreading. And up the field, we weren't running. We weren't doing anything. It was basically everyone look at King, look at Rowe, look at Jack Hayes. And if they point for their hand and say, I want it, everyone's just kind of runs to their feet. And the ball goes to King. If he doesn't mark it, it goes to ground level. And then we reset. But that's not a game. That's not a way to win games. That's a way to, if you're up by a point or 5 goals or, you know, something, it's a close game, that's when you do that and you play safe. But we play safe 90% of the time, and we only play fast and aggressive and exciting when we're a few goals down and we know the game's getting away from us. So I don't know why it has to take that for us to actually play that way. I wish we could just play that way as a default. Sean says, hard to watch, was hoping something new. The random bombing the ball hurts my soul. You and me both, mate. Rats doesn't need to go, mate, just yet. That's too soon. It's one game, but I really want to see a difference in the way we play. This one's from Ryan. Can't spread it when you have terrible skills coming from the back half. Don't have the cattle. Recruiting has failed. Game plan can't change when you have no players with elite foot and hand skills with poor decision making, plain and simple. The first thing Rats did when he came in was he said he wanted to address the kicking. So the fact that a lot of us are still here talking about how bad our kicking is, that's not a great sign. This one's from AJ. The fight back halfway through the third was good, but we lacked that sort of intensity for the rest of the game. So disappointing. We're bottom 4 if we think that is a good-looking team. We shouldn't be bottom 4. If we are, far out. Like, how far can we drop? Sam says, I think Rats needs more scrutiny on him. Might not be the man to lead us forward onto success. Missy Higgins version 2 tonight. Come on, Orlando. We don't need to talk about that shit, mate. I addressed that last year. We don't need to get into that again after one bloody week. Same shit, different year. Ross, Butler, and Hill still making us look bad. That's from Alan. Ross and Butler, pretty average games. Hill, I thought he actually was all right, and he played his... he wasn't... We're not going to bang on Hill. Like, we're not going to do that. We did that last year. We're not that stupid, Saners. It's bigger than that. The way we played tonight was a team thing. It wasn't an individual player thing. I thought Hill was not the worst player on the ground. I can't even really tell you who the worst player on the ground was. It just felt like a terrible team performance overall. Whereas last year, there were performances where one or two players were particularly bad. But tonight, I really can't pin it on that. It was really just what they were trying to do as a team that I really don't like. Maxi should be deep 50 most of the time. I agree with that. Like Tom Hawkins, play him out of the square, tell him not to move, and give him the space. Yeah. Daniel says, I don't think anyone has even thought of lowering their eyes and hitting a leading play in the forward 50. Oh, you know what? That is the best comment so far tonight, and that is because it's so true. I'd like to think that we're a team that can hit targets, but the way we played tonight, it's like they all don't think they can, or it's been trained out of them. And that's the worrying part, is are we not training to play that way? And, training is the way to refine your skills, and if we're not doing it, it's never going to get better. Hayes appreciation comment, that's from Max. Yep, absolutely, he was probably a best player tonight. Which is saying something about the rest of the team. We need more Jack Sinclair. Yep, I did like him in the middle though, so it's a good move there, but it did mean that we kind of didn't have that rebound off half back with him and Hill. And D-Mac, I think he was kind of put back there a little bit, and that kind of stuffed up what he was doing last year so well, which was running from the wing into the forward line, pressuring, and kicking goals when he had the chance. Harrison, thoughts on our recruitment strategy? Back to the drawing board, getting some youth in. I wouldn't jump the gun after 1 week. We'll see how we go next week, but we've got youth though, don't we? Like we played. I guess Owens and Burns were probably the two youngest tonight. There is only one word for tonight: consistency, or inconsistency at that. I agree with that, Tyler. Matthew says, mate, they stopped our running game and slowed us down. We fell into the trap of changing our brand. They absolutely flooded our forward line and they used the corridor well. And as you said, no direct footy. We can't keep bombing to King. But he must have the stronger hands. Love the guy, but he needs to do more. The whole team needs to do more, mate, to be honest. But that's the thing. Why is it so easy to negate our game plan? Again, in my preview, if you guys watch it on the YouTube channel, I said, if plan A doesn't work, we need a bloody plan B. We need a plan B, a C, a D. We need to try it. The whole game for 4 quarters, apart from 5-10 minutes in the third, we played the exact same way. And it didn't work in the first quarter. Why did Rats think it was going to work in the fourth or the second or midway through the third? That's not the way to play football. We need to be able to adapt to our opposition. If we're going to play the same way every week, we're going to be the easiest team to play against. And last year, at times, we were the easiest team to play against. Starts in the centre and we were smashed in there. Yep, I said it yesterday. We said it on the podcast. That was the one way Collingwood could beat us tonight, was in the middle. And guess what? That's the way they beat us. And yet our ruckman killed it. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you had told me Rowan Marshall would have the game that he did, I'd say, well, our midfield must have killed it and we win by 5-10 goals. Nah, we lose by, 3 or 4 goals. Who comes in next week? Hopefully Zach Jones. I don't know. Depending on how he goes. Maybe Highmore in the backline would be very handy. This is from Chantel. Sinclair, Membry, Hayes killing themselves trying to save the game. Agreed. They're the sort of players that play with their heart on their sleeve, and we don't have many of those, but they 100% always do. Honest thoughts on Owens. I thought he was average. That's from Emin. Yeah, I really expected more from Owens, but I think, it's his first game. Friday night footy in front of 40,000. Collingwood playing pretty well. I'm not going to jump the gun on him again, but, you see Owens and then you see someone like Dacos and you see, that's why Dacos went at pick 4. But Owens hopefully will build into it, and even some of our better players struggled, so I'm not going to, jump the gun on him. Nick, are you heading to Optus next week? That's from Nick. I don't know. I'll see how I go. There's a few things going on. If I don't, I'll just be watching it from home. But I do want to get to as many games as I can. But it depends on flights and if I can get there in time and work and everything. So we'll see how it goes. Would you have Sinclair in the middle with Steele? That's from Ben. Tonight we needed him in there earlier. I thought I was calling it in the first call. I was like, why we got Owens in there? Put Sinclair in there. But to be fair, in a lot of the off-season talks, I did say I'd love to see Owens start in the middle, and I don't want to jump, pretend. I'm not going to say I'm a hypocrite, but it didn't work. So I'll say I was wrong there. He's not ready for the middle. Bytel, yeah, again, we could try that. Good point there from Scott. Need a new strategy kicking inside 50. Absolutely. Mate, that hurt. That's from Ross. Midfield was bad. That's from Anthony. Got to stop blaming Owens. I'm not blaming Owens, so I don't know if that's for someone else. We played the ugliest brand of midfield footy. Yeah, 100%. I said that to my uncle in the second quarter when they were on top. I said, we play the ugliest brand of footy when we're losing. It's just predictable. It's easy to defend. That's it. All right, guys. I might, what is it? 11:30 now. Bloody hell. Honestly, this could go on for hours because there's so much to talk about, and obviously all of it would be really disappointing, but I'll leave it there and I'll let you guys go and get to bed and hopefully forget about this game. So much energy has been put into, obviously the club have done it, but the channel, my videos, lives, everything, so much energy is put into this. And I just want to come on here and talk about bloody wins. How hard is it, Saints? Like, it's ridiculous. I've done Saints TV, this is what, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is my 5th year doing this channel. And I'm still talking about the same shit. From Richo days, Rats days. Oh, bad kicking, bombing, this, that. 5 years on, Saints. This has got to be fixed. This is shit that's been going on for too long. So we'll see how we go during the week. Hopefully we get some players back from injury. I don't know. But I appreciate all of you staying up and watching it and venting with me. So as always, I really do appreciate your support. Obviously a shocking start to the season. This is going to make for a very tough week and a very tough podcast on Tuesday night with the boys. We tried to even do fan cams tonight, but Sainers was so pissed off they did not want to talk. Yeah, James, yeah, get stuffed, mate. But yeah, it's one game in a big season, so hopefully we can bounce back against Fremantle next week in Perth. Not going to be easy, but geez, we're gonna have to push hard. So yeah, thanks guys. I'll have this up on YouTube if you want to watch the replay, but it's a shocking performance, so you know what you're going to get from me. And yeah, podcast will be back on Tuesday. Saints TV Weekly will be on Monday, and content during the week, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, shocking performance. It was essentially everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. So hopefully this is as bad as it gets for at least the first couple of weeks of the season, and we can talk about a win next week. But until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Try to enjoy your weekend. Get out, spend some time with family. Don't think about footy too much. And we'll come back next week and do it all again. But again, thanks, guys. I'll see you soon. And yeah, Go you mighty Sanus. See you guys. Take care.